My corn crop failed this year, but I am still filling my pantry, and this is how. I got into a little bit of a rush when I went to plant my corn this year. My husband had taken the tractor through and he had rototilled everything for me, and most of the weeds were already killed off. I had covered them in plastic, drowned them of sunlight and of any kind of moisture. So when he went to rototill, he was pretty much just pulling everything up for me. And instead of me going through and putting weed fabric down, trying to clean it up a little bit, putting plastic, anything down to kind of control the weeds, I didn't do anything. I just went ahead and planted my corn seeds. I've never planted corn before, and I was gung-ho to do it this year, whether or not if it was going to be for me and my family to consume ourselves, or if it was going to be for the animals, because the animals all winter long love corn and the husks and stalks and all that jazz. So I also did not have a watering system set up at all. Well, okay, that's not true. I have an overhead irrigation sprinkler set up, and it got most of my corn field, I'm going to call it. It was like a small miniature field. I had several rows that were probably 40 feet long. If I would have been successful, it would have been a fabulous harvest. And while they're still going to be growing, I highly doubt in the next 2 months they're going to grow another 2 feet and start producing the corn like they are, supposed to. So what I should have done is, obviously I should have done something to control the weeds a little bit better, and I also should have made sure my watering system was under control, because as I'm watering overhead, that's fine and dandy, but what it's doing is watering everything, including the weeds. So pretty much all of my corn is being drowned out by crabgrass, because that area is so thick now, and there's no way I can go through and pull all the weeds now. So I'm pretty much just letting it go. Whatever happens, happens. But what I'm doing so that I can still feed my family and I have home canned corn in my pantry is I am going to buy from a local farmer. I have a friend in town. I actually graduated with her. I got strawberries from her last year, and she is doing the same thing I am. She is just doing what she can with what she has, and she has been super successful. She sold strawberries again this year, and she's selling sweet corn now. And so I went ahead and I hit her up on Facebook, and I was like, hey, this is what I want. I'm just getting off work now, so I'm on the way to go pick it up. And what I'll do is I'll go through and still just go through, shuck the corn, separate it from the husk, and I will can it like I would have if it was my own corn. Last year I went to a farmer's market and picked up a bulk order of corn so that I was able to can some. Like I said, I've never grown corn before. I've never had the space for it, and while I thought that, I do have the space for it now, I didn't care for it properly, so I'm not going to get the harvest that I want to this year. So that's what I'm doing to fill my pantry. Trying to make sure I don't miss her road. I don't go to her house maybe twice a year. That's it. And even though I wasn't able to grow my own corn this year, I really love the feeling of being able to support a friend, a local farmer, someone else that is also just trying to make this lifestyle work for them and their family, knowing that she has put the care into this crop and that she hasn't been spraying pesticides and chemicals on it. I'm willing to pay a little bit extra than per se I would, here's the turn, than per se I would at Walmart. I would much rather support a local farmer and pay a little bit more per corn cob, knowing how it was handled and how it was cared for, than buying it for super cheap at the store when it probably came from another country. And who knows how old it is and what it was treated with. Okay, I am almost at her house, so let me go make this transaction. All right, we are done. I was actually kind of worried about bags because I didn't think about bringing like a bag or a box or anything, and she had everything already pre-bagged up for me, so that was nice. And I chit-chatted with her for a little bit because I haven't seen her like I said, in a few months. So, and of course, she told me to come back if I want more, and I very well may come back for more depending on how much I'm able to can out of this. And you know what? I might actually blanch some and put some in the freezer. We'll see. I use canned corn more for like my recipes, and 2 of my 3 kids have braces, so it just makes more sense for me to can it and not have it on the cob. But we'll see. Hello everyone, Editing Becky here. As you can see, my tiny little microphone I have clipped to my shirt must not have been turned on, and I clearly didn't check it. So it looks like a lot of my clips have absolutely no sound, but we're just going to roll with it. I guess this is going to be a voiceover. So sorry. Next time I will double check that everything is working correctly. I'll do a playback or something, but shit happens. And just like sometimes harvests don't go to plan, sometimes my recording also doesn't go to plan. So we're going to roll with it, and I'm just going to do a voiceover. So as you can see, I have all the corn unloaded and on my counter. I had mentioned that I wasn't quite sure how many cans I was going to get. Some of the corn cobs were a lot smaller than I imagined that they would be, but that it was okay. I was just going to freeze some, maybe the smallest ones I would freeze, and I was still going to go ahead and can as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and shuck this, and then I will show you how I cut it off of the cob and can it. Also wanted to mention real quick too that I was shucking this all into a garbage bag, not only to help save future mess, because corn silk is so hard to clean up sometimes, is that I planned on using everything possible from the harvest, just like we do our animals. We want to try to use as much as we can from what we get from the land and not just throwing it away. And I ended up not making anything with the corn silk. I just simply didn't have time before it were to go bad. So all of this product actually ended up in my compost, which is not a waste because it will be contributing to next year's garden. Okay, everything is all shucked. Now I'm just going through and picking out the smallest corn cobs to go ahead and blanch and freeze later. And then I'm just kind of checking and making sure everything is good as well. And everything seemed to be pretty good quality. There was spots on a few of them, but not too bad. Now, anytime you go to shave the corn off, cut the corn off of a corn cob, it always seems to make a mess. So what I do is I use a bowl. You can see there's a little bit of a divot there, and that is where the corn will actually go while I'm cutting it. And then the bowl underneath will catch a lot of the corn. Now, while this does help in collecting the corn kernels and not making as much of a mess, it still will make a little bit of a mess. So make sure you have plenty of space surrounding you to be able to clean up, and always start with a clean countertop, of course. Okay, and here is an example of what it will look like and how I am holding the corn cob. I just hold it from the very tip and do my best to cut all the kernels off without getting a lot of the cob itself. Now, besides this being a little bit messy, it is also time consuming to go through and cut all the corn off, but it definitely is worth it. You can always taste the difference between home canned corn and store-bought corn. I put all the corn in this colander so I could give it a really good rinse. I mean, the corn is fairly clean already, being protected from the husk, but bugs get in there. And also, this is my way of trying to separate the silk as much as I can as well. Last year when I canned corn, some of the silk did get into my cans, and it was not an issue at all. It didn't change the flavor of it. It didn't make it so bacteria got in or anything. And there's actually a lot of benefits with corn silk, so I'm not super worried about it if I end up canning some of it. But no one likes to take a mouthful of stringy corn silk either, so you got to kind of find some middle ground. So I'm just going to rinse it off really, really well before I raw pack my jars. Okay, time to pack my jars. So I'm using pint jars for this. It is a perfect size to add to casseroles or if I just want a side dish for my family. And I'm going to raw pack these with about 1 inch headspace. And I'm using the funnel just to help try to keep the rims as clean as possible. I will still go through and wipe with vinegar, but using the funnel helps keep it that much more cleaner and that much more likely that you'll get a good seal with your lids. Now we're filling with boiling water, and yes, it needs to be boiling just because corn is such a dense product. You want to make sure that the heat can penetrate all the way through, and this also helps get all of the air bubbles out as well. And then salt is optional, but I chose to add half a teaspoon of salt to each one of my jars just to give it a little bit of flavor. Like I said, it's optional. You don't have to, but it's just my preference. After that, it's time to debubble, and we're just trying to make sure that there's no air bubbles stuck in there and that the product is going to be safe for pressure canning. I will pressure can these at 10 pounds of pressure for 55 minutes. Like I said, corn is a super dense product and it takes a while for it to penetrate all the way through the jar. And so to make sure that this product will be safe on your shelves for a long time to come, you want to make sure that you pressure can them for quite a while. Now I'm going to go through and wipe all the rims with vinegar. And once again, this just cleans off the rims to make sure that there's nothing in between the lid and the jar so that we get a good seal. Add your clean lids and your rims and just put your rims on fingertip tight. We want to be able to remove them when we're done, but this is just going to keep the lid in place to help create that seal while they are in the pressure canner, and we will remove them after. I was actually able to get quite a bit more than I thought I would with this harvest. So I was able to get 12 pints ready to go in the pressure canner, and I will be double stacking these and keeping an eye on them for the next 55 minutes. And after it is safe to remove the lid, I will set them out on my counter and let them sit for 24 hours. And I will see you back in a minute. Oh my God, you guys, there's audio in this clip. Yay! Ta-da! Okay, so it is the next day. We are completely done. I kind of spaced my blanching process for the corn, but what I did is I just rinsed everything off really well. I boiled it for 7 minutes and then put it in an ice bath so that it would rapidly cool and it wouldn't continue cooking. And then I just let it dry a little bit and then I freezer packed them. All my corn seems to have sealed, and now the next thing for me to do is go through and wash off the outside of the jars if I want to before storing, and to take the rings off. I never store with my rings on because it can help create a false seal, and I also don't stack my jars like this when I'm storing them for the same reason. And so what can happen is if for some reason your seal fails and it pops open, having the ring on or having weight on your jars like this can make it reseal when it, like per se, it starts to warm up again or something, and that food is no longer safe. So I don't stack them and I leave the rings off so that if for some reason my seals fail, then I will know right away and I will know to get rid of that product. But not too shabby for 4 dozen corn, and being able to support one of my friends, a local farmer, is fabulous. It's okay that my crop didn't do so great this year. I've learned from it. I know I have ideas for what I'm going to do next year. I mean, I won't give up. That is just part of homesteading. It's going to be an ongoing learning lesson every step of the way along this journey, this path that we're taking. Things won't always work out the way you want them to or the way you imagine them to. And you just got to keep trucking along. Like, it's okay. And I still have food to put on my shelf. So I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.